The Wellington Palace Hotel was preparing for the most critical business meeting of the year. A billionaire investor from China, Mr. Wei, was arriving, and his decision would determine the hotel's future. For weeks, the staff had rehearsed every word, choreographed every movement, and polished every surface. General Manager Harrison Bradford stood in the lobby, barking orders with military precision. Staff members were told to smile without speaking, to be perfect but invisible. When he spotted Olivia Chen, a black cleaning staff member, working near the main conference area, he immediately redirected her elsewhere. "She doesn't fit the image," he said flatly to another manager, without bothering to lower his voice. Olivia didn't protest. She simply moved to another section of the hotel, continuing her work in silence. This was familiar territory. The hotel was transformed overnight. New decorations appeared, expensive vases, cultural artwork, imported flowers. The temperature was adjusted repeatedly. The kitchen prepared a special menu. Harrison held his phone tight, ready with a translation app. "Technology is sufficient," he'd said when someone suggested hiring a professional interpreter. It worked before. What no one knew was that Olivia spoke fluent Mandarin. She had taught herself, studying late at night after her shifts, reading business books hidden beneath cleaning supplies in her cart. She had a degree in international business and hospitality management. She'd even spent 5 years living and working in China, taught by professors who once recognized her potential. But at the Wellington, she was just the cleaner. Invisible. Unremarkable. Mr. Wei arrived at precisely 2 p.m. Harrison greeted him with his phone app ready. The translation came out awkward, robotic. Mr. Wei's expression flickered, surprise, then disappointment. As they walked through the hotel, Mr. Wei asked detailed questions about corporate tax rates, environmental regulations, and local business laws. Harrison relied entirely on his app. The translation app failed spectacularly. When Mr. Wei asked about foreign investment structures, the app translated it as "fish tax too heavy under law." Mr. Wei frowned. He turned to his team and whispered something. They looked unimpressed. Harrison's confidence crumbled with each failed exchange. He tried to appear knowledgeable, but Mr. Wei was clearly testing him. The investor was asking serious business questions that demanded real answers, not guesses. The presentation began in the main conference room. Slides flickered across the screen. Charts were misinterpreted. Key terms were translated incorrectly. The timing between speaking and translating made everything feel disjointed and unprofessional. Olivia mopped the hallway outside, listening to every word. She understood Mr. Wei perfectly. She recognized his frustration. She knew the answers to every question he was asking. But no one had asked the cleaning lady for her opinion. Inside the room, the disaster unfolded in real time. Mr. Wei asked about regional tax incentives. Harrison gave an answer that had nothing to do with the question. When Mr. Wei asked about fire safety regulations, the app translated it as "burning system approval big." The investor slowly stood up. He gathered his materials. His team followed. "We're leaving," Mr. Wei said in English, making his decision clear. Harrison stepped forward, desperately trying to recover. "We'd like to reschedule with proper support." Mr. Wei didn't even pause. Too late. Not serious team. As the investor walked toward the door, the hallway froze. Executives whispered frantically. Someone suggested an online translator. Another mentioned calling the embassy. Nothing would work. There wasn't enough time. Mr. Wei was almost out the door when something extraordinary happened. Olivia set down her mop. For years she had kept quiet. She'd tried speaking up before. Once she'd offered to help a Mandarin-speaking guest, and her supervisor had told her to stay in her role. Another time she'd corrected an error in a report, and a manager had warned her not to step outside her lane. Each attempt at recognition had been punished. Each effort to show her worth had been dismissed. But this time felt different. This wasn't about her anymore. The hotel was about to lose everything, and she could stop it. Her hands trembled slightly as she stepped into the conference room. "Excuse me," she said quietly, looking directly at Mr. Wei. The room froze. Every eye turned toward her. "Sir, I can help translate," Olivia said, her voice calm but steady. "I understand both languages and the topics you discussed." Silence. Mr. Wei studied her for a moment, then replied in Mandarin. "You speak very well. Why didn't they let you speak earlier?" "No one ever asked," Olivia answered simply, also in Mandarin. The executive stared at her like she had just materialized. Harrison's jaw tightened. Mr. Wei said something to his assistant, who nodded. Then he gestured for Olivia to come forward. "Continue," he said in Mandarin. Olivia stepped forward, her heart pounding but her voice steady. She didn't look at Harrison or the executives. She focused entirely on Mr. Wei, speaking with the clarity and confidence of someone who actually knew what she was talking about. What happened next changed everything. Olivia explained local regulations with specific legal citations. She compared Brazilian corporate law to Chinese business practices, discussing liability structures and treaty-based tax efficiency. When Mr. Wei asked about operational costs, she provided detailed analysis. When he asked about regional licensing, she cited exact compliance metrics, mentioning that the hotel had completed a full audit just 2 months prior. She didn't guess. She didn't fumble. She spoke like someone who had studied international business for years, because she had. Mr. Wei's skepticism shifted to genuine interest. He began asking her follow-up questions, leaning forward, nodding at her responses. His assistant started taking notes, real notes, important notes. Olivia outlined a comprehensive strategy for positioning Wellington as a luxury destination for Chinese visitors. She explained how family-oriented Chinese travel required multi-generational spaces. She discussed the critical importance of digital payment integration, Alipay, WeChat Pay, which Western-only payment systems excluded. She talked about cultural details that mattered, breakfast areas designed for group seating, service protocols that respected Chinese preferences, website information in Mandarin, small touches that whispered to guests, "You are welcome here. We understand you." With each answer, Olivia gained credibility that no amount of corporate branding could have purchased. When Mr. Wei asked about supply chain risks and currency fluctuations, she answered with current market analysis and risk mitigation strategies. When he asked about partnerships, she proposed specific legal structures that satisfied both regulatory and cultural requirements. The presentation slides on the screen, Harrison's carefully prepared slides, remained unchanged on the opening screen. Frozen, forgotten. No one was watching them anymore. Mr. Wei paused his questioning and asked Olivia directly, "Where did you study?" "International business with a focus on luxury hospitality," Olivia replied. "I spent 5 years in China, including work with major hospitality groups in Shanghai and Chongqing." Mr. Wei's eyes widened slightly. "Did you attend lectures at Qingdao University?" Olivia smiled. "Summer program, 2017. "That's where I taught part-time," Mr. Wei said. "Were you a student of Professor Lin?" "He was my advisor," Olivia answered. The connection was established. They were no longer a billionaire investor and a hotel staff member. They were colleagues, speaking the language of shared academic experience and professional respect. Harrison stepped forward, finally unable to stay silent. "Olivia, can you tell us what you two are discussing?" "We discovered we both know the same professor at Qingdao," Olivia translated politely. "Mr. Wei is asking about my background." "You studied international business?" Harrison said, his voice betraying shock. "International business and hospitality law," Olivia confirmed. Mr. Wei added something in Mandarin. Olivia translated, "He says he's surprised someone with my education is working in cleaning." The room fell silent. The question hung in the air like an accusation. Harrison tried to recover. "How did that happen?" Olivia looked down briefly. "It was difficult to find opportunities in my field locally. I took what was available." But Mr. Wei wasn't finished. He turned to address the entire room, speaking in English so everyone could understand. "You have someone here with this level of skill, education, and experience, and you put her in a cleaning uniform?" His tone wasn't angry. It was disappointed. Disappointed and critical. "That's not acceptable," he continued. "Someone like her should be in an executive role. This shows your company isn't paying attention to its people." Harrison looked down, embarrassed. No one responded. There was nothing to say. Mr. Wei looked directly at Harrison. "You have a problem, not with me, with how you see your employees." 1 month later, Olivia walked through the Wellington's lobby wearing a tailored executive suit instead of a cleaning uniform. Her steps were steady. Her head was high. Staff members she once passed, unnoticed, now greeted her with respect. She was now the Director of International Relations. Her office was simple but professional. On the wall behind her desk hung her university diploma and a framed letter from Jiang International offering her a position anytime she wanted it. Today, she was launching the Hidden Talents Program, an initiative to identify skilled employees currently working in roles that didn't match their qualifications. She had found dozens of stories like her own. A room attendant who spoke fluent French, kitchen staff with degrees in accounting, a maintenance worker who was a self-taught programmer. 20 employees sat in the conference room. Some wore cleaning uniforms, some wore kitchen whites. All of them looked uncertain. "You're not here because of your current roles," Olivia began. "You're here because of what else you know, what else you can do." She showed a slide comparing job titles with hidden skills. The room grew quiet. "The hotel has been missing something important," Olivia continued. "Your full potential. My goal is to help change that." A man from security raised his hand. "What if we don't have a diploma, but we've learned on our own?" Olivia smiled. "That's just as valuable. I taught myself Mandarin before anyone noticed." As the meeting progressed, something shifted in the room. People began to talk openly. Hope appeared on faces that had grown accustomed to invisibility. Later that afternoon, a young man from the kitchen stood nervously in Olivia's office doorway. "Hi," he said shyly. "My name is David. I studied Mandarin for 3 years, but I never use it here." Olivia smiled. "Would you like to?" "Yes," David said, "I would." "Then come see me tomorrow," Olivia replied. "We'll find you a role where your skills matter." As David left, Olivia turned to look out her window at the city below. She thought about the invisible woman she used to be, the one who cleaned hallways while carrying dreams no one could see, the one who studied late at night while the hotel slept, knowing her education meant nothing if no one would look. She'd had the knowledge all along. She'd had the capability. What she'd lacked was the moment to show it. That moment had come unexpectedly, born from desperation and courage in equal measure, and when she'd stepped forward, everything had changed. Now, she was making sure that moment came for others too. She was opening doors that had been closed. She was making visible what the hotel had ignored. The Wellington Palace Hotel was learning something it should have known all along. Potential doesn't announce itself. Talent doesn't always wear a uniform that matches its value. Sometimes the most qualified person in the room is the one holding the mop, and all it takes is one person brave enough to speak and another person wise enough to listen.